Let's talk about the Miami Hurricanes because I think that this team could be really interesting moving into this fall as we are starting fall camps. College football is only about 25 days away, guys. Like, let's get excited for some college football to be around here. And I have a couple videos planned, some more broader perspectives, but sometimes from time to time when I'm doing these breakdowns or I'm doing research for these videos, I find a team or two or a player that I really want to end up talking about or making a video on. And this is not going to be a Tyler Van Dyke hype video, but this dude looks electric. And I do think Miami is going into the new direction of a really good football program. I feel like they have made the connections, they have made the hirings, they have made the moves to go into a better direction. Now, will that happen in 2022? I don't think so. I don't know if that's going to happen immediately into 2022 just because it is so hard to hit the ground running, especially for a program that has been lacking of an identity, I would say. They had a little bit of hype with D.R. King and Manny Diaz, but I feel like Manny Diaz was bringing in an era or a perspective of this program that wasn't real substance. I make an arbitrary comparison, and stick with me here, of Kevin Sumlin during the years post Johnny Manziel, where A&M was seen as a team that had a lot of hype, a lot of jerseys. They had a lot of things that showed that they were this elite college football program, when in reality there wasn't a lot of substance. They were doing a lot of things on the sidelines to build up this hype. They were bringing in recruits, but they weren't really capitalizing on the talent that was on the field. And I feel like Miami kind of embodied that as well. But when you bring in a guy like Mario Cristobal, a guy that I feel that has an imprint on a program, a guy that wants to come in and make his statement known, make it culture, build something real. And he brings in guys like Josh Gaddis and Kevin Steele, two offensive and defense coordinators that I feel that are really, really good. And I'll get into Josh Gaddis once we talk about the offense in a minute, but I do want to say last year was quite disappointing for Miami for a multitude of reasons, but I think there's a little bit of nuggets of happiness that you can find throughout the 7-5 season that really make this year really interesting. Obviously, you lose to Alabama week 1 in a blowout. You lose to Michigan State in a blowout. You almost lose to Appalachian State in week 2. Miami looked terrible to begin, but then Central Connecticut comes in. And not only does Central Connecticut comes into Miami, Tyler Van Dyke comes into the picture. And Tyler Van Dyke is a quarterback that needs to be on your radar, especially for the NFL draft, especially for a guy that could be so talented for this NFL. Now, I don't think he fits the modern mold. He's not a guy that's going to run around making plays. He's not a play extender, I would say. But his ability to make quick reads and his arm strength and his ability to make NFL throws and read coverages is remarkable for his age, and he is an elite talent. And I think getting a guy like Josh Gaddis that's not going to ask him to do too much. It's not going to ask him to put too much pressure on Tyler Van Dyke's shoulders. It's going to be huge. As well as I think that the running back room and the running back stable could be the biggest X factor on this team, but I do have a specific player that I think is going to be the X factor. I'm going to give you two X factors, one on offense, one on defense, but I do think that this running back stable is going to be crucial, especially with Josh Gaddis as the offense coordinator. We saw it with Michigan. They wanted to run the ball. They wanted to make these pro sets. Now, I think part of that could be with Jim Harbaugh, and I'll be interested to see if Josh Gaddis is going to implement more of the more creative things that he was bringing in, especially this past year with Michigan. And there's a running back that is a freshman over the past recruiting cycle that I was super high on. Trevante Citizen is the guy that I assumed was going to end up being at LSU or Florida. And honestly, I want to give my props real quick to Mario Cristobal, a guy that came in December 6th, right, I believe, at early signing day, if not past it. Came in, the Miami Hurricanes had the past 50. I mean, they were not ranked in the top 50 when it came to team recruiting, and he got them to 16 by the end of the cycle. Absolutely remarkable job, and he is clearly doing a fantastic job for this 2023 class, and that's why I feel like Miami next year is going to be really dangerous, especially if they keep Tyler Van Dyke potentially on for another year. But I feel like that right now, we're talking about 2022. What are the expectations for Miami? Is the U back? No, I'll answer my title. The U is not back right now, but they have to show some life in this schedule, and I think that this schedule provides some real opportunities for them to really make some plays. I think Miami is in a prime position to really surprise people. Now, to get my two X factors, and then we're going to break down the schedule, I think Zion Nelson, a potential first-round pick left tackle for them. They bring back three offensive linemen that could be their starters. Now, their offensive line was not fantastic last year, but Zion Nelson showed a lot of promise, and his size is fantastic. I also think that on the defensive side, they have a Tyreek Stevenson, a quarterback that I think is going to be really damn good. They're both projected to be All-Americans, at least for the ACC, potentially across America. I think that this team has a lot of talent. Now, whether or not they're going to be prepared for, say, Texas A&M, say Clemson, both are away games next year, are going to be very difficult to win. And I do expect this team, the expectation, at least from what I've read, that are not from biased Miami fans are overhyping their program, I expect them to go 8-4, 9-3, which is a really damn good year, especially after going 7-5. And let's break down their schedule. We got a good idea of what their offense and their defense is. They brought in a lot of good talent this past year, but they're young. Jahiel Skinner is a tight end that I think could be a real big weapon for them. I do concern about their wide receiver room just slightly. I don't think they have enough talent, or I don't blame Mario Cristobal because he came in so late into the cycle as well, and he wasn't able to really get his guys. You're clearly seeing it now with Miami's momentum this past summer. Now, whether or not they keep it, that's neither here or there. Also, they could definitely get into the transfer portal next summer. I'm sure the transfer portal is just going to be as loaded as it was this past year. I have no expectations of the transfer portal anymore, especially after what happened this offseason. But obviously, let's go game by game. You're going to see the schedule on your screen. I have them beating Bethlehem Cookman, of course, and I have them beating Southern Miss, a new team in the Sun Belt. Shout out to Southern Miss. I'll actually be able to watch them live here at Texas State. I do think they lose to Texas A&M. Texas A&M is their primetime game. I'll be at this game. I'll be vlogging. That'll be a whole video. Texas A&M is going to be too physical for them. I understand Mario Cristobal, Kevin Steele, they're physical. They want to be beating you at the line of scrimmage. So does Josh Gaddis. I understand that. But I do have a problem when this team is going into Kyle Field. It is so difficult. I know Oregon was really good away at times. They beat Ohio State on the road. Commendable win. But I want to say that Texas A&M is going to be very difficult to beat on the road. Prime time. 12th man is going to be rowdy. I have them losing that game. And I think the expectation with most Miami fans is that they lose that game, taking the bias out of them. I do have them beating Middle Tennessee and then going into a bye week against North Carolina. I think this is the game that's going to prove whether or not this team is going to end up being a 9-3, 10-2 team off their first year or not. Because North Carolina obviously lost Sam Howell, their leader, but they still have a lot of talent on this roster. They still have a couple of 5-stars on that roster. I think that North Carolina could be a sneaky team that can win a couple of games against some really good ranked teams. I think that Miami could potentially be ranked by this moment, especially if they start the season 3-1. The hype train is slowly going to build, especially if they beat North Carolina. But I do have them losing against Virginia Tech. I think that they go into, I believe it's Bedlam, I could be wrong, but Virginia Tech on the road, especially if that game is prime time, it's going to be difficult to win. I have them losing that one, going 4-2. They beat Duke, going 5-2. They beat Virginia Tech, and that is their first away game that they win. I think that is an easy win for them to go into Virginia and win. They get a revenge game against Florida State at home. I think they beat Florida State. I think they beat Georgia Tech away. They get a hot streak going into Clemson. This is a huge game for this program, and they lose. I think they lose to Clemson. I don't have to explain myself on that one. It's in Clemson, guys. That game's going to be primetime. I just don't think this team is ready for it. I think Tyler Van Dyke is going to put up a fight, and I think Clemson could be really damn good this year, though. I think they could easily make the playoffs, and I don't see them beating Clemson in their stadium, and I think they could lose to Pitt. This is a game I'm going 50-50 on just because Keaton Slovis is a dog, but I do concern about what Pitt lost this offseason. I think Pitt can beat them at home. They're going to lose one of these games at home, and I think Pitt could. Going on a 2-game losing streak to end the year, but hopes are not down if they look competitive in those games, if they keep them close, because they lost a lot of close games this past season. So they were in a lot of games that they shouldn't have been, and they were also in a lot of games that they should have won easily. I think Miami is in for a 9-3, 8-4 year. I'm going to predict 8-4 just to be safe right now, but I would not be surprised if they go 9-3. And shout out to Miami, man. I think they are in the right direction as a program, and I'm really excited what their future holds, especially again Jaden Rashada. And he is a prime-time quarterback. I think he is damn good. I wanted him to go to Texas A&M, but he goes to Miami. Shout out to him. Shout out to Miami. Shout out to everyone in this program because I think they're actually going in the right direction, unlike some of these blue-chip programs that made hirings. I'm looking at you, Florida. And thank you so much for watching. Hit the sub button. Hit the like button. I am on the road to 1,000 subs. If you want to see more college football content, if you want to see more NFL content, if you want to see more NBA content, it takes 2 seconds. Thanks so much for watching. Have a wonderful day. Pop.